Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Liverpool Latest. I'm your host, Matt, and I got another great episode for you guys today. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool news as me and Fanarch embark on this very, very interesting journey together. First come, first serve. I have some big news that I particularly do not like, but it is what it is. Mohamed Salah will be missing several games due to a departure to the AFCON tournament where he will be playing for Egypt's national team. I know we kind of all saw this coming, but unfortunately it is to be regardless, and it's not news I'm particularly happy about given the games that are going to be coming up in the midst of that absence, and potentially more absences on top of that. So, as of right now, Salah is available to play against Brighton on December 13th. Okay? After that, he's more or less, you can count him out. Down for the count, so to speak. Here's the games that he's going to miss due to AFCON. Both legitimately and potentially depending on Egypt's progression in the tournament. Tottenham on the 20th, Wolves on the 27th, which I'm not going to lie, Wolves isn't much of a... we're not going to miss Salah for that. We have the talent to beat Wolves. Wolves are a very beatable team. And I say that now, God forgive me, but they might just come back and score 3 on us like they did a few years ago. Leeds on the 1st of January. I think that is when we kick off the reverse side of the schedule that we have. Fulham on the 4th, Arsenal on the 8th, and Burnley on the 17th. All of those games taking place in January, and not happy about it. Specifically the Arsenal one. Arsenal, Fulham, and Leeds, I would prefer to have Salah there, especially Spurs. I feel like Spurs is kind of they're always going to be tough, and I think Salah could be useful for us, whether he's starting or on the bench. Wolves, again, Leeds, you don't really necessarily need him, but still. And Burnley, okay. He could be gone for that. If only the schedule worked out that way, where it would be nicer to us. So, obviously, I talked about this yesterday, that Salah wasn't happy about his West Ham benching. But let's be honest, can you really expect it? You know, I mean, did you really expect it not to happen, I should say? It was bound to happen. It was only a matter of time. Unfortunately, this also comes as a result of some potential, well, how do I say, injury, as well as certain starters not showing up. So, or at least for another start. So I'm a little bit worried to see what Slot has in mind. I will touch back on this later on in the video, so do not go anywhere. I got some other stuff I'd like to talk about, such as Jamie Carragher, once again making his name and his in the headways and the news and whatnot, talking about the whole ordeal I discussed a few days ago in regards to Steven Gerrard potentially being Liverpool's next manager. So, Carragher dismisses these rumors, okay? Which I completely understand because they're just that, rumors. I don't even know if I fully want that to happen myself. And I've seen a lot of people on social media talk about it as well, how they're not fully convinced that Gerrard is the right guy for the job if Slot was to be sacked at some point this season. So, Carragher's saying it's not realistic. I'm not going to say it's not realistic. I'm going to say it's not realistic. At least not right now, anyway. And he also states that Liverpool fans are not calling for Gerrard to take the job, which, again, like I said, I've seen a lot of people, surprisingly, and it's the same sentence every single time. I love Steven Gerrard. He is my hero, one of the greatest players of Liverpool. Do not want him to be manager. It's the same song and dance. So clearly, there is a very, from my point of view, general overwhelming consensus that despite the respect that we all have for Gerrard, he might not be the guy that we need if Slot was to be sacked at some point this season or after the season. So, and here's the thing. Slot still has the job. I mean, he could have been sacked. He should have very well been sacked if we lost to West Ham this past weekend, okay? However, he's got a lot of games to go. And this schedule coming up is a little bit iffy with Sunderland later today and this weekend facing Leeds. So it really depends on how he does in those games that's really going to put him in the hot seat again or not. Right now, everything's kind of all, I don't want to say hunky-dory, but calm, for lack of better terms. People are still very, very uneasy, as am I, but right now, Slot still has the job. Gallagher also says that having an interim manager would make absolutely no sense at this point in the season because he questions, and I quote, "Who would you get?" Steven Gerrard. But yeah, and he's kind of right. Outside of Gerrard, who are we going to take? Klopp? Is Klopp going to come back? Completely unlikely. I still believe that's unlikely, and I still think that's bullshit, but people on Twitter and social media still tout about it like it's the gospel. Like, oh, Lord Jurgen will come back and save us. Return us to our former glory. I don't know. And I love Jurgen. I love that man with every fiber of my being as a fan of this great team, but I have to agree with the sense that there really is nobody to replace Slot, even if we were to sack him. And even then, I think we'd be worse off if we do sack him. I don't think we'll be better, which is also the problem that we currently find ourselves in. Just like these injuries coming up here for this game. Connor Bradley has missed the last 3 games due to a muscle issue. He is returned to partial team training as of this past Monday, but they're saying that they're managing, or Slot is saying, I should say, that they're managing his workload as he's not yet 100% to return. He's completely ruled out for the match on Wednesday. He could return for Leeds on Saturday, but I'm a little bit doubtful of that given our history with injuries so far this season. Could mean that Joe Gomez starts again. There was another article that was saying that it's unlikely for him and Kirkes to start again. But honestly, I think Joe Gomez is probably the only option we have. I like Szoboszlai at right back. I really do. But I think he is better in the midfield. And I think he suits us better at that he's in the midfield. I think we need a dedicated defensive player to play at right back. And I think Gomez is honestly our only option. But that's just my opinion. Jeremy Frimpong, he's been out since the Frankfurt match in October, where kind of everything has been kind of downhill since then, if you think about it. But he's expected to return to training next week. Not the best news I could have asked for. Okay, it just sucks. He's gonna miss 3 more matches basically. And we all thought he would be available maybe a little bit sooner. At least we hoped he'd be available a little bit sooner. But at the earliest, mid-December seems to be the timetable that's still being reported. I was hoping it'd be a little bit sooner in December, but again, beggars cannot be choosers. And I did see something on my list here of things to talk about in regards to other injuries, if you may give me one moment. Let's see here. Yes. Wirtz was returning nearly 2 weeks out. Obviously, his minutes are going to be managed as well. I don't get that, though, because Wirtz played a good portion of the game this past Sunday. So then they mentioned Gomez and then Isak, who was subbed off with a cramp after scoring, which I'm not super thrilled to hear that news particularly. So, I don't know. That might affect my starting lineup that I'm going to talk to you guys about in a second here as we gear up towards the Sunderland match in just a few short hours. I know I'll be watching the game, and you'll definitely have my opinions post-match for sure, no matter how late that may be. But man, it's going to be tough. And the thing is that Sunderland is also suffering from a couple of injuries, so I feel like the playing field is a little bit more level, but I also don't understand Sunderland as a team enough, personally speaking, to get an idea of what their depth looks like past those injuries. Elise, at least that's how I think I say it, and Diarra are out with both a shoulder and groin injury, respectively. Brian Broby pushing for a start after the scoring from the bench, I guess, in a previous match. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. And honestly, I'm not super worried, okay? I'm not super worried about Sunderland. I think they'll be a little tough at times, but all in all, despite the success that they're having, I consider them to be a somewhat inferior team. Not a team that will be necessarily relegated, because they're pretty far above in the table to prevent that from happening, at least for the time being. But this is what some articles are showing as the potential starting 11. I see a couple of these. I'm going to give you guys both of these lists, and you tell me what you think. One of them I think is absolutely egregious, but I'll let you be the judge. Allison in net, Jones, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson seemingly in the back four, and McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai in the midfield, Wirtz, Gakpo, and Isak, which I think they might be putting Wirtz in the midfield as well. They might be going with a 4-2-3-1 or something along those lines, if that's what the setup looks like. I do not like this particularly because I have my own pick for that, but I hate the Jones pick at the right back, okay? I absolutely hate that pick. There's no way you can have Jones start at right back when Gomez is right there. I'm sorry. It just makes no sense. Jones is a far better, and even then he's sketchy at times, but he's a far better midfielder than he is a defender from what I have seen of him. Here is the potential other starting 11 that I have seen, which is a little less egregious, but I still don't necessarily care for it. Actually, this might be more. This was the egregious one I was talking about. So let's read the names off, and I'll let you be the judge. Allison in net, never a doubt. Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Kirkez at the back four. I'm okay with that considering their performance in the last match. McAllister and Gravenberch, midfield. Gakpo, Wirtz, and Szoboszlai in the three above that, and then Isak as the single one for that formation. I hate that. I hate the way that this lineup is set up. And I don't necessarily hate the choices. I hate the formation in which they are in. And I hate the 4-2-3-1. I just think it's a bad overall choice of formation for us. It hasn't proved very well now, or in recent memory. It probably won't do very well for us going forward. I think the 4-3-3 is still our best shot. Here's my pick for this. I think a lot of this is good. It's just that some pieces need to be moved. Allison, of course, stays in net because I can't trust Mamardashvili to block anything, even if it was a giant soccer, even if it was a giant soft soccer ball like the ones that you see in Fall Guys. If you played Fall Guys before, even if it was something like that, I wouldn't expect him to block that, even if all hell had frozen over, and somehow it was possible. But either way, I'm just talking nonsense. But Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson back four for me. That's my personal choice. I'm going to go 4-3-3, so I'm going Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai in that three. I think if the rumors are true, I'm going to keep Wirtz on the bench if he's having some issues. So I'd have him sub in at some point, but I don't think he's going to be a starter from my list anyway. I also think he's a little bit too inconsistent to be proven as a starter, at least for this particular match. Isak, Editike, and Gakpo. As much as I hate saying that with the last one being Gakpo, because Gakpo at times is rough, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that formation, those names. You could sue me if you want. You can call me any name you want in the comments section, but that's where I'm gonna stay with. Honestly, no. You know what? Fuck Gakpo. Chiesa. Throw Chiesa in there for the lulz. All right? Isak, Editike, and Chiesa, front three. Final answer. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching Liverpool Latest, and I appreciate you being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe once again. I will be back with the post-game analysis and reaction versus Sunderland in our very own home, which is Anfield. You'll never walk alone. Up the Reds. Let's win this one, baby.